So I guess we're doing this or whatever.
Yay!
Woo! Baby Driver at long, long last. So excited for Edgar Wright's latest film that stars Ansel Egort and like other people.
Kevin Spacey, John Hamm, Jamie Foxx. What's her name?
Keep going, you got this, keep going.
I think her name's like Lily James.
Is that what it is?
Actually, yeah, I think it is.
Is it?
The girl that's into Baby.
The girl that's into babies.
No, like his name. They all call him Baby. I don't know his name yet. You have to.
His name's
She just
Baby.
looks at Baby's like, yeah. But yes, yay, you get a gold star for naming the cast. So yeah, all I know about this is heist and cars and partial deafness. And Edgar Wright, and that's
finally,
pretty much...
and finally another Edgar Wright film.
Yeah, finally
I love
another
good
Edgar
music.
Wright. Yeah.
Kevin Spacey being a bad guy.
Yeah, I heard
Yeah.
the soundtrack was killer.
I hope it is.
I'm stoked. I haven't looked it up or anything.
Yeah.
I want it to be a surprise.
I mean, kind of like when Guardians of the Galaxy 2 came out. You didn't want to really look
Yeah.
that up because
Yeah,
it's
like,
so much fun.
I made the mistake of looking up the volume 2. I didn't like really look for it, but I saw a list of it. It was like the title of an article that I read was like, here's all the songs. It was just right there. And I saw them all and I was like, oh man, those are some really good songs. But then I was just anticipating them throughout the whole movie and it like
Yeah.
sort of ruined it a little bit. So
Yeah.
I like going into it blind as far as like a heavily like soundtrack influenced movie goes.
So I mean, and we've all seen the. I assume you've also seen the trailer because I know. You know, I have.
I've seen the 2 that they've put out.
Okay.
I don't know if there's been more.
Well, you've seen one
The
more
very
than
first,
I have.
yeah, the very first teaser trailer that came out, and then they did a second one.
Oh
It was
man.
about like half. It was like half a minute longer.
Yeah.
I played
Couple more
the
songs.
Baby Driver game they had on Snapchat.
Ooh.
Ooh wee.
Oh boy.
How was it?
It was actually pretty fun. You just like move around barriers trying to like get past the cops while listening to good music.
That might actually be a pretty accurate description of the movie itself.
When you say it like that, it doesn't sound that bad.
Yeah. Cool. Oh yeah, this is also Nick. He's probably going to be one of the new co-hosts on this thing if his work schedule doesn't suck. So, yay! We've got Sarah and Nick on this thing. I don't know if I'll add more people because it's looking a little crowded back there.
We'll just have to get a bigger car.
Yeah.
Keep the
Eventually
short-
just get a bus.
Have the short people up front and the tall people in the back.
Alright. We'll see if that works. Alright. I mean, I think we're all really highly anticipating this one.
Yeah, pretty excited.
Yeah. Yeah. Alright, let's go watch
Alright,
it.
let's go.
I want to drive real fast right now. I'm like ready to drive fast and listen to good music and drive
Really
fast. So yeah, if you couldn't tell, we're back from seeing Baby Driver. And my first thought is, I want to see it again, but in D-Box this time.
Yeah.
Like, this is the only time I've seen a movie and been like, I gotta see it in D-Box now.
Yeah,
Like, that would only make the experience better.
for sure.
I mean, and that's that's $17 a seat.
It's worth it.
I would
It'd
think
be
it would
worth
be.
it.
I would hope it'd be worth it. But I'm willing to try as well.
Okay.
Edgar Wright's latest is really not what I expected, but not in an unpleasant way.
It's just different from other things that he's done.
Yeah.
It's pretty much one long music video.
Yeah, but
Where,
it's
like-
not annoying about it either.
Well, yeah, where like even all of the background noises were like synced to the music, which was
Yeah.
like my favorite part about the movie.
That's totally an Edgar Wright thing too.
Yeah.
Is he likes to keep the rhythm of the movie going. And this one literally with beats and notes like playing through it all, but it's never irritating either.
I don't think a gun was ever fired to like
Off the beat?
not a 4/4 beat.
Yeah.
Every bullet in that was fired to
So-
the beat.
So crazy fact, that scene where he goes and gets the coffee at the beginning of the movie, they did that 28 times, and that was take 21.
Really?
Yeah. Like Edgar Wright was doing an AMA earlier on Twitter today, and he was talking about that. I'm like, shit, that's complex what he did.
Well, it's one long shot.
Yeah, and that's what makes it complex and difficult.
And with how they
with how they did it, he had to hit his marks.
Yeah.
Like he could not miss them or you ruin whatever frame that is.
Mm-hmm.
And they nailed it, but I mean, that's a hell of a way to start a movie off. Like after the awesome car chase at the beginning, that's an awesome way to keep the movie going.
Yeah.
I was impressed the whole way through.
It was really
I'd imagine
good.
you two are as well.
Yeah, I mean the only thing I thought was kind of weird was the like, I guess it's not really the subplot. I guess it's sort of the main plot of the movie. It's like his relationship with the waitress, with Debora. Seemed like it went from 0 to 100 in like 5 minutes.
It kind of did.
They sort of imply that he like hangs out there a lot at that diner. But then
But they make it
clear
explicit.
that it's like the first time she's seen him there.
Yeah.
And then like the next day, they're like going on a date, and he's like, I wanna drive across the country with you. She's like, ditto.
And for those of us that have driven across the country in close proximity to other people, that's a tall order.
Yeah, so that part was kind of weird, but it's like,
I bought it.
you just kind of gotta like, yeah, I just figured like, oh, they're just two suave Southern individuals just vexing each other.
Yeah.
And I just kind of went with it.
Yeah, I mean,
but it was still kind of weird.
And it was never creepy.
Yeah,
which definitely helps.
It wasn't ever like creepy. It was a little bit cheesy at times, but like
the thing that it would remind me of though is, I don't know if either of you ever seen this, Thief with Michael Mann's Thief. Okay,
No.
Okay. So you know how how James Caan is like, he like lays out who he is. He's like, are we gonna start this relationship or not? Kind of the same way, except less forceful.
Pretty much. Like, it reminded me of pretty much every time you watch a movie made before, like 1980, that has like a romantic subplot where it's just a guy walks up to a woman, he's like, hey, you're gonna be my girl, see?
Okay, that sounds like it's from the 40s.
Okay, but the point stands, where some guy just walks up to a woman and is like, we're doing this, and she's just like, oh yes, we are.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it was, and then it just stayed that way.
Yeah.
The rest of the movie.
But I mean, it worked.
But like, it worked.
Yeah. It was a little weird, but it worked.
I get where you're coming from, though. The plot, as it is, going about praising this film, before we explain what it is, so, Baby, the Ansel...
B-A-B-Y.
Ansel Elgort?
I don't know.
Like, John Oliver made a really great joke about
Ansel
this recently.
Eldritch
The
Horror,
sick kid from The Fault in Our Stars.
Yeah. Yeah, that's him. Best known as like the sick kid in Fault of Our Stars, and the brother of the main character from the Divergent series.
And later on, they play their interest in The Fault in Our Stars.
Anyway.
Yeah, they're siblings and then they're lovers.
Basically, basically, that's the best thing he's ever been in.
Oh, by far.
Easily. But he plays a driver with tinnitus who listens to music to kind of drown it out, and because of that, he's a superhero who can drive really fast, basically. But it's never as ridiculous as the Fast and Furious films. Like, this film, I feel like most, if not all of, like, the car chases themselves were practically done. Like, the most ridiculous thing they did is like, all right, that's a 1 in a million shot of that happening, but you still got that one.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's in the trailer, but the bit where he drifts and flips the tire spikes under the other.
Yeah, that was. I was like, wait a minute, isn't your tire out?
Yeah, I was like, what? Why did that not flatten his tire?
But then it's like, all right, let's keep going.
It's like, all right,
And it happens like so quickly that you don't really pay attention to that,
Like
because you want to keep seeing what else goes on.
Yeah, it's like the nature of the car chase. You don't have time to be like, wait a minute. That's not how that works.
No, instead you're like, this is awesome!
Yeah, you're already on to the next ridiculous stunt.
And it's edited so well that so a weird plot, then we'll get to the minutia of the film. He plays a plays a really great getaway driver, and he's put into a situation where he still has to be doing jobs, and he definitely doesn't want to be. But it's not typical. Like it isn't. Like in a lot of situations like this, the main villain will be moving the goalposts for our hero. It's like, yeah, you did owe us $50,000. Now it's $100,000. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it
wasn't
sort
that.
of is. Like, I know you guys haven't seen John Wick 2, but that's kind of like the motivator. If anybody watching this see John Wick 2,
Probably.
it's kind of the same motivator where a guy shows up and says, hey, you owe me a favor. He initially says no, and he's like, well, if you say no, I'm just gonna kill everything you love.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty straightforward.
It's straightforward, but it's also not typical. And the way the relationship between Baby and Doc, played by Kevin Spacey, the way that plays out is actually really good. I like the way it ends. Like I like the way that by the end of the film, it's like, okay, the nature of their relationship is not what I thought it was, and it works because of that.
Yeah.
Well, and it's that kind of classic, like, you know, you gotta do one more job sort of trope, but without any of, like, the weird subterfuge where it's like,
We gotta screw him over.
Well, yeah, there's no, like, screwing him over, widening the goalpost. It's purely there as, like, a motivator for more car chases.
It's because Baby is so good that, and again, this isn't a spoiler, Baby is so good that Doc is like, I need you to keep doing these because you're so good.
Yeah.
And so while that's happening, Baby also falls in love with Lily James, a waitress at a local diner. And we see their relationship blossom, and yeah, as you said, it's a little weird how it's just like, all right, 0 to 100, but again, I thought it worked well, but I get where you're coming from. And that's pretty much the plot of the film. And it's weird because that's such a bog standard plot, but it's told so elegantly and with such a definite rhythm. Like it never slows down. Well, it's not that it's too fast paced, it's paced super well. And the movie never hits a slow spot. It moves and it moves and it moves. And it's an absolute blast. Like, it is very fun to watch.
Yeah.
And one of the things that really kind of caught me off guard with this is that, you know, we've all seen a bunch of Edgar Wright's other movies. When it comes to the... Apparently there's somebody on the train tracks. Anyway, Kenneth Branagh is snidely whiplashes tied someone to the Orient Express.
Oh, I'm so glad we didn't see that trailer.
So what I was going to say is that Edgar Wright, normally his editing is very flashy. Like, a lot of directors try and hide the editing or mask it. He is like, no, I'm bringing the editing to the forefront. That's where a lot of the comedy comes from. For instance, the Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yeah.
Or, versus the World. Like a lot of the edits, like when you see the school bell ring, and it like follows the like onomatopoeia of the school bell ringing. That's their transition, or a lot in Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
When Simon Pegg is moving out to the countryside, the editing is the joke. In this one, it's still his like signature very fast editing.
It's like, it seems like he, you know, whenever all of his editing is very much like a tribute to whatever genre he's doing. Like, you know,
and he
Scott Pilgrim's a lot of like the kind of panel shots that follow like the lettering, like the tracking there. Hot Fuzz is a lot of like the quick, like, you know, jump shots and the really fast reactions where it jumps from one person's face to another every time they're talking. And then this had the classic car chase of like just
whipping the camera around
whipping the camera around, doing the like big, you know, tracking shots of the car as opposed to like a bunch of jump cuts.
And he takes whatever genre that is and perfects it completely.
Yeah.
It's like, well, shit. Next time I see a getaway film or anything to do with cars and racing and crime, it's like, well, shit. you gotta be better than this now. Like, this is now the watermark for those kinds of chases.
Yeah.
And I normally, like, don't always like car chases like that. Like, I just think they're kind of boring. But this one, like, nailed it really well.
Well,
like,
yeah, like, the editing was everything in that movie, because, like, there are so many ways that could have just gone horribly wrong.
Yeah.
With, like, you know, like, the tire screeches, all the bullet shots, even when they're, like, slamming doors, or, like, when people are getting pistol whipped or punched in the face, like, everything's to the beat of something, and it just, like, keeps you going. Even in the, like, the slower parts of the movie,
Yeah.
when they're playing, like, you know...
But it's never, like...
slow songs, it's
Yeah.
still, like... He's still even, like, you know, moseying around to, like, the slow beat and stuff,
Yeah.
and it's, like, it never takes you out of it.
But because the music, like, connects with you so well, you have that same mood. Like, it connects you to Baby, and, like, it fits.
It's weird.
And it fits
Yeah.
so complete. Like, you're right. There's no reason this should work, and it does.
It's so weird, because I feel like it does what, like, musicals are supposed to do, but, like, don't do.
Yeah.
How in musicals they go from, like, having a regular conversation to, like, busting out in a jaunty tune, and you're like, where the hell did that jaunty tune come from?
Yeah.
But this was like...
And there's a plot reason why the
Yeah.
music's
Yeah.
there too.
And it's like, this just keeps, like, slowly taking you, like, in and out of it, and, like, speeding up and slowing down, but it never, like...
It's never
It never,
too
like,
much.
grinds to a halt.
Yeah.
It's never like, we got a bunch of awesome music going, and now there isn't. Or, like,
Yeah.
anytime there isn't music going, it's because, like...
There isn't supposed to be.
without spoiling anything, it's like, pretty much anytime there isn't music going, it's because Baby's not, like, listening to music.
Yeah.
And then you get that weird kind of bring
Like,
in the
it's totally
tinnitus
diegetic.
noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you're always hearing, like, what he's hearing. And then when you see what he's doing, and so it's like it puts you into it, and, like, more than what... It, like, brings you more into it more than most movies do, where you're, like, seeing a character, you know, like, you're watching, like, a Jason Bourne movie, he's running really fast, and you're hearing some action music,
Exactly.
and you're like... But in reality, this scene's just a guy running, there's no
Yeah.
music. But this is, like, actually what Baby's hearing.
And because of that, it makes the film itself more
Yeah.
subjective, like to his perspective.
Well, and they make it really
and he's
clear.
he's in almost every frame of the movie
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
which assists in that point.
Well, yeah, and it's, like, made really clear that, like, he's, like, it always makes it really clear, like, what he's feeling and when, like, the music's going
Yeah.
on, and when, like, it's not going on, and that, like, when there isn't music going, it's, like, usually, like, stressful for him, and the scenes, like,
Yeah.
anytime there isn't music, like, you know,
And there's
like, shit's going down.
one particular scene where they play that super well.
Yeah, yeah. Sure.
But and along with that, I love the, like, this is rarely ever used effectively, but the sound design in the way that if he has an earbud out in his right ear, music ain't coming from the right side of the screen.
So they do that with some of the dialogue too, I
Yeah.
noticed. There were, like, times
Yeah.
where, like, if the character was, like, over on this side and you couldn't see them, that's where the sound was coming from. And
Yeah.
then they'd, like, enter in the frame and you could hear it more. And I just thought, like, it goes well, like, with how Baby is. Like,
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
with, like, his hearing and everything. Like, if they're all the way over here and he can't hear them, when they come closer, then he can.
Yeah, it's just a masterclass of filmmaking, and it's like the more I'm talking about it, the more I'm like,
I know,
I like this movie
You start to
more.
realize it, because it's like, you know, you realize that it's just, like, absolutely almost everything. Any shot that Baby's in, for sure, you're always hearing, like, what he's hearing.
Yeah.
They never jump to another scene and, like, exposition dump you or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's always just like, you always hear what he's hearing whenever there's any sort of... Because they make it clear that he has the tinnitus, like, early on.
Yeah.
Anytime the tinnitus
from
is going...
before the
it just,
movie even started.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
just starts ringing in, you know, the whole theater, and it's, like, makes you uncomfortable, and it's, like... It's weird that, like, just based on the trailers, you'd kind of think, like, oh, it's just gonna be, you know, bitchin' car chase movie with, like, you know, sweet music, but it actually turned into, like...
So much that and so much
That,
more.
and, that and, like, a bizarre kind of, like, character piece on a kind of not exactly, like, he's not really a very stable kind of guy. Like, he's a good guy, but he's kind of weird. has the tinnitus and the weird music thing, but it's like you kind of get in on it because you like are completely experiencing it. Like even
absolutely.
though it's a third-person experience, it's also kind of like a first-person experience too.
Well, the music like itself is just another character in the film. Like,
I'm gonna own this soundtrack.
Yeah, it's good.
And like
It's real good.
you know, his whole having different iPods. For,
I
like,
love
different
that.
moods.
I love that bit. I'm just like, all right, that's stupid, but it's also really cute.
One thing I did also really like was Baby lives with the person he lives with is deaf.
Yeah.
And they use sign language, and I mean, like, my sign language isn't like 100%, but everything's accurate.
Yeah.
And I really liked like how they use that, and then with when you listen, like when you hear the music going on, like I really, really liked that.
I almost wonder if Edgar Wright. I almost wonder if he said like, I don't want to put subtitles when those two are having a discussion, but I don't know, maybe after editing, or maybe your producer's like, no, we really need to put subtitles here.
I actually think having the subtitles made sense.
Yeah. But I also feel like their acting also could have worked without it. But
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, that's not even a knock against the film. It's just commenting on one part, on one, like 3 scenes
Like,
of the
I think
film.
it was a little bit, like, I think they definitely did the subtitles for the sign language, because it wasn't just like basic conversations like, hey, how you doing? This is my car chase money that I hide under my floorboards. It's like, no, like there were important conversations about like their relationship that happened, you know, like 3 or 4 times throughout the movie. And like his, you know, foster parent that he lives with, it's like, I think like just as important of a character as the lady
Everybody
interest,
else.
Debora.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, the movie kind of revolves around those two, but definitely, like, I think he was just as important of a character, because he was sort of like the motivation for,
And
like,
he's his moral compass.
he's the moral compass for him. So.
I feel like every character had a great moment.
You know,
Every single
Every
character,
single person.
no matter how long they were on screen for, they had a great moment.
I think, you know,
I mean, unfortunately, one of the best
Bernthal
jokes
wasn't in that movie very
he needed
long.
to be in it way more, but unfortunately,
like,
one of the best jokes is in the trailer, and that kind of bummed me out.
I still think like seeing it
was
on
great.
screen.
Wait, which joke?
The
Mike
the
Myers?
masks.
Oh, the Mike Myers one? Yeah.
Yeah.
That whole bit was hilarious.
Yeah.
There are still some really good jokes though in the movie, or like little moments that were really, really funny.
The way it was played
Yeah, that
out.
you were like, oh yeah, this is totally Edgar Wright humor. Like this is totally like how he does comedy.
And it's not as dialogue heavy as his other films normally are, which it's like, wow, that really is the sign of a great filmmaker is not only knowing when to have conversation, but also when to shut up and let the movie play. And it works 100%. I mean, as I started this review by saying, I can't wait to go see it again, and I want to go see it in D-Box.
Well, I was on Twitter earlier, and I don't remember the name of the article or like who it was by, or else we'd like reference it more. But it basically said reasons why you should go see Baby Driver 3 times in cinemas. And I wish I could remember like where, like who was by. I'll try and look so we can like post it in the description. But I'm like, yeah, gonna go see it more than once now because it was good.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a movie you want to see in theaters.
Absolutely.
At least like the first
as
few times if you can.
As Edgar Wright said, like, he made this for the big screen. This is the way it's meant to be seen, and it really is.
Definitely, like, even if you're watching it at home, you won't get the full benefit. It's like, I feel like I'm definitely just chilling out for the surround sound. But like, because of like the stereo, like how they have the stereo system kind of like hooked up, you definitely, you know, like laptop speakers probably wouldn't really cut it.
Yeah, not even a really good headset will cut it.
Like, you definitely, the surround sound, like, in the theater, it was crazy. There were times where, like, I was, like, kind of, like, looking around sometimes when the noise was happening.
Right? Like, or, like, there'd be dialogue, and I was like, wait, did someone actually say that?
Yeah.
Or is that in the movie?
Yeah, like, if things happened, you know, if there was ever a voice that came, like, you know, off frame, it was actually, like, coming from
Yeah.
where that person was off frame.
And it's
Which was like really crazy. Like the sound in that movie was easily like the best part.
and I think this really hammers home a lot of why Edgar Wright is one of the best filmmakers of this generation, period, without hyperbole, is that he understands the language of cinema in an almost Shakespearean way. Like, I mean, that might sound like hyperbole, but he understands how to use the frame, how to use the sound, how to use the music, how to use all of the tools at his disposal and elevate the art.
Well, like, you definitely got to be talented to be able to, like, take... Because he's not making, like... Everything... Like, most of the stuff he does is, like, a tribute to something, you know?
Yeah.
And then he puts either some sort of twist on it, or makes it, you know, like in the case of Hot Fuzz, it's like everything is like, you know, what is it, the Chekhov's gun? Is that what it is? I always forget what it's called.
Yeah.
Where like everything you see is just like super important and relevant later.
I feel like he really leaned on that in both Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of like, yeah, it's crazy to be able to essentially make like what amounts to like parody or satire, but actually have it be like greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah, like a loving parody and satire of that genre.
And it's like he always does it. Like,
and he's brilliant at it. I don't know. I can't say enough good things about this, but we've spoken for like 20 odd minutes now. I'm gonna go into my final thoughts. See it. Just see it.
Good.
See it. It's absolutely worth every dollar you put down for it. If you can, see it in D-Box. Maybe look into what other people have said about it in D-Box, but I really feel like it'd work in D-Box. See it. Just please, for the love of
Like,
God,
just
go
throw
see
your
this
money
movie.
at the theater and be like, all the
favorite
tickets.
character in the movie.
Oh, crap. Either Flea or Jamie Foxx.
Flea had like one line in the whole movie.
I know, but he was so good.
I was looking at him.
knows.
I was just looking at him and thinking like Back to the Future the whole time.
Yeah.
I was
All right,
like,
you?
Jamie Bats.
Bats.
Jamie Foxx.
Oh, what's the name of John Hamm's character?
Just say John Hamm.
John Hamm.
Buddy.
Buddy, yeah.
Or Doc, Kevin Spacey's character.
Of course, you're going to say Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey's my favorite actor of all time. Of course, I'm going to say that.
Okay, your final thoughts.
Amazing movie. Like, if I could just take all my money, throw it at Edgar Wright, be like, here you go. Please make more things like that. It's my favorite Edgar Wright movie of all time. And I don't know if it's my favorite movie so far of the year.
But it's a hot contender.
It's like tied between that and Get Out. Like, they're my favorites.
Best music video I've ever seen. And definitely my favorite Edgar Wright movie. For sure.
It's every time he puts out a movie, it's just like, man, you beat your last one.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
So, wow, man, I just want to go back and rewatch it now.
It's good.
But unfortunately, I can't. So next week is Spider-Man Homecoming.
Right? Going on vacation and gonna go see Spider-Man.
Yeah. Well, not on vacation so that we can see Spider-Man. Or we're going on vacation, and while we're on vacation, we're watching Spider-Man and reviewing it.
That's the vacation. It's just Spider-Man Homecoming.
That's an expensive vacation for Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah.
But yeah. And if Nick enjoys being on this, he'll be a regular fixture. The sardonic dude in the back seat.
Sardonic backseat dude.
Yeah, exactly. So thanks for watching this extra long special review of Baby Driver. So yeah, Facebook.com/GlassHouseFilms, Twitter @GlassHouseFilms, YouTube.com/GlassFilmsHouse. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.